Okay, we are on the air, ready to go. Um, Thank you all for being here and for tuning in, whether it's live or whether it's on YouTube's later. So we are in chapter 15 and 16 of the verbs, and we have had a request that we hit some important things early. I think that's a great request to kind of give highlights on the direction of where we're going. And so these are a few things. First of all, a couple of reminders and information about the quizzes and a few of the things that Dr. Briones is going to be asking you for. First of all is that now it is vitally important that everyone remember breathing marks and accent marks. These now are important. You've been given a few weeks to learn them and some grace on your quizzes. But now, starting this Wednesday, you'll start receiving deductions, a full point deduction for those words that are spelled wrong with an important, all breathing marks are important, by the way. So any breathing mark and the important accents. So like accents that help identify the word, like between tis and tis, the accent means it's a totally different word. So those you'll receive a full point deduction for. But the accents that are not important, that are not a part of defining the word, those you'll receive a half-point deduction for. He also said that he's not overly concerned that that you know exactly which accent goes there. You could draw a smiley face over top of, I think is what he said, right? Draw a smiley face over top of the part of the word that needs to be accented. He just wants to know that you know how to pronounce it, you know where the accent goes. It's not as important of exactly which accent, but that you got it right. So so accents are now important to the spellings of the words. So please get those right so you don't miss any points. The second thing is that your syllabus or syllabi or whatever it is says that there's a quiz on November 4th. That is a lie from the devil. Mm-hmm. So there is no quiz on November 4th, and you will be given the option for your midterm to either take it on October 28th and have an extensive period of rest, or to study longer and take it on November 4th. So there'll be two Wednesdays in which you'll be able to take the midterm exam. And I hope the quiz this week gave you guys a little bit of encouragement, if you did, especially if you did well, to help you know that this is what you're going to start seeing on your quizzes you come on Fridays for. And your midterms are going to hold that sort of difficulty also. So.
Question.
Yeah.
Do we have to have the midterm proctored on site?
No, I imagine, I mean, that's an email from Micah, but personally, just talking out of turn, I would imagine that your same proctor situation would be fine.
Okay, cool.
But I don't quote me on that. An email to Micah would be wise.
Cool.
Cool. Cool. All right. With that, let's look at these chapters 15 and 16. I'd like to make a few comments just to kind of orient us all in the right direction. Chapter 15 does a broad overview of all of the verbs. And it told you try not to memorize all the stuff there, because what it did was lay out a lot of information that we're going to be unfolding over the next several chapters. So you don't need to know about the aorist. You don't need to know about these things yet. Also, it talked a lot about time, mood, tense, aspect, all of these things. Those are things that continuously throughout studying the verbs, you're going to want to go back and just reread to make sure you grasp them, to make sure you understand them. The only thing that I would emphasize to you is that as we're translating verbs, remember that time, the Greek does care about time, but it's less important than the aspect and the tense of the word. So just know that Greek separates those out, and that's going to be the weird thing that we continually hit bumps with in English, because we don't necessarily do that. But it becomes really neat in translating to have those things. Also, the present active indicative specifically, just remember for now, everything's going to be indicative. Matter of fact, I could be wrong, but I don't think you hit anything other than the indicative until you get to Greek 2. Greek 2 is when you're going to start leaving the indicative. And if we ask the question, what is an indicative verb, what would that be? What did Mount say it is? What did he say about the indicative? It's just something that it's something that is. It's you know, I studied as a well, it's something that is not necessarily time restrained, but something that is solid as opposed to the may or I might study or something outside of that. So that's what the indicative is. So so yeah, we're going to be in that forever. So everything, you just need to get used to in your parsing saying indicative, 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 and then later you're going to change that. We're working on the present active currently. The present tense is what it says, present, so it generally indicates something that is happening now. And when it says now, when it says in the present, it's in the present according to the speaker, which some of us, and I've gotten some great questions about translations and things in the text, and they say, well, this is a present verb. Why is it translating like it's past tense? Well, for the reader, it might be past tense, but for the speaker, it's got to be put in their tense, and for them, it would be a present tense verb. But we still have to be able to read it today and know that the story happened in the past. So the tense is important. The present, it's the present in the time of the reader or in the time of the speaker, narrator, author. So we've got, with that, the present tense also carries with it a continuous action. We talked about that continuous action. It's like Mounts calls it like watching a parade from the street. So it can either be continuous, which is like I am studying, which is this, it's continually happening. It can also be undefined, which is just I study, but it's still this continuous, like you're doing it. And so, but the way that the verbs are formed are also going to be important, talking about the stem, the connecting vowel, and the rules surrounding that vowel and what endings are going on the words. So you're going to need to memorize these endings and these charts. And really, this first couple chapters are just an introduction to all of that. You also learn a little bit about your personal pronouns with your verbs and how the personal pronouns are generally there to provide emphasis to the statements, or they can be there to help clarify gender. So, but those are the things that we're going to kind of aim for this chapter. But up front, those are the important things. Those are the things that you need to think about. They're going to be the most useful as we continue going into verbs, are continuing to look back at these things like aspect, like tense, and thinking through these ideas of continuous, undefined, or that kind of stuff. So, any thoughts or questions on that? We're good? Yeah? Okay. No unmuted mics means we're going to continue on. So let's talk about these. When you're working with verbs, how were you taught to memorize the endings?
Rote.
Huh?
It was just rote memorization.
Just rote, okay.
You mean like with the connecting vowel?
Right. You were taught with the connecting vowel. Is that what Brino said?
Yeah.
Okay. So give me the paradigm. Can you give me the paradigm for the present active indicative verb?
So the primary, are you talking about the primary endings? Are we talking about
Yes, primary endings.
Like o, ace, a, amen, ete, usin? Is that what you're talking about?
Usi, yeah.
Usi, but it could be usin.
It could be usin with the removable nu, or I guess it's not removable, it's movable. Yeah. Okay. And so, do you guys remember the rules for what connecting vowel goes on? Different words.
Maybe.
Maybe.
If the connection begins with a mu or a nu, it's an omicron.
Okay, we've got if the connection begins with a mu or a nu, it's an omicron. Good.
Okay, if it begins with without a mu or a nu, it's an epsilon. Oh, yeah, epsilon.
Anything else, and it's an epsilon.
It's a couple of examples.
Sure. And then if it doesn't, yeah, mu or nu, it's an omicron. If there's no personal ending used, it could be either.
Either.
What it says, yeah. So, okay. Any thoughts, concerns as we move forward? Do you guys have this? Are you comfortable with the present?
Yeah, I felt really comfortable with it, which is what scared me. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like,
Okay.
but I just learned the sounds of the endings. I don't know. I didn't remember any of the old connecting vowel stuff.
Yeah.
I just went by feel.
I'll tell you that you do want to remember those rules because right now everything looks real clean, but as you get deeper in the verbs, some of these rules, some of these things, and the way that the reason that letters are doing things, it's called the morphology. The reason that it's morphing is going to become important.
I was afraid of that.
Yeah, yeah. So you do want to know those rules, because you're going to learn things like be able to say it like luo, lues, lue, luamen, luete, luusi, and then you're going to learn things like blank sigma, blank mente nu, you know, what?
I was laughing because it's fine.
Okay. Yeah, you're just that's the way you're going to remember these things. But then you're going to get to like the subjunctive, and then you're going to go, wait a minute, those don't seem to show up. But that's because in the subjunctive there's a lot of morphology that happens.
Okay.
So you've got to be able to. But for Greek, let me be clear. For Greek, there are clear rules. You can reverse engineer things. You just don't want to skip over all these rules in these chapters thinking they're insignificant.
Okay.
Later get caught with the morphology issues. So, okay. So we've got these things. You understand the idea of the personal pronoun?
Mm-hmm.
The idea that the verb carries within itself the subject if none is provided. Do you understand that?
I do.
Okay. And in order to find the subject in a sentence, what are the rules you need to understand? What do you have to know?
Nominative endings.
Okay, good. They have to have nominative endings. But say you're given a verb like, let's say your verb for this sentence is akuais or akues. So it's from the lexical verb akuo.
To hear.
Akues. How would you parse that?
So that's you hear, right?
Yeah.
You are hearing, or you are hearing.
Right. Good. You are hearing because it's continuous, but how would you parse it?
Why do I need to parse it if I can translate it?
You need to parse it, and actually, you're playing right into the reason. So.
Second singular.
Say it again.
Second singular.
Okay. So finish the parsing though. Second person.
Present active indicative.
Present active indicative. Good. So if you know that akues is second singular, what type of say you've got multiple nominatives in a sentence, how do you know it's subject?
It's going to agree.
It's got to agree in what?
Person.
Number.
Gender.
Right. Right. It's going to agree in person and number. Okay. Well, yeah. Do verbs have number? Verbs don't have number. Yeah.
Well,
So it's going to agree in person, and its case is going to be nominative. So if you've got a second person singular word, then a word like anthropos could not be the subject. Why?
Because it's not in the second person.
Okay, what is anthropos?
It's like man. It's
Right.
And it's nominative singular.
Yeah, it's nominative singular.
And so obviously, like, since the verb is being done, the present active indicative verb is being done by the second person, it would have to be being done by this unmentioned, unspecified you.
Good. Good. So if you had anthropos in that sentence, it could not be the subject of that verb, because it can't be a man hears or a man is hearing, because that would be a third person. That would have to be a third person verb. You would have to have a kue, right?
So it would have to be a predicate nominative.
It could be a predicate nominative. Yeah, I didn't give you the rest of the sentence. It could be a predicate nominative, but well, it can be a predicate nominative because you're given the verb akues. Now you've got to look for,
You are a man.
you are a man could work, but you've still got the verb akuo. So it's you hear. You are hearing.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, and so it's not that you've got a to be verb there. If it's predicate nominative, you're either going to have or supply the to be verb.
So is the example you listed possible?
Well, yes, because anthropos could be functioning in a prepositional phrase as a subject of that prepositional phrase.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you could have multiple nominatives in a sense. You've just got to start discerning. Also, sometimes your verb will come at the end of the sentence. And you've got everything that's jumbled up in the front of it, and you've got to be able to connect. You've got to be able to look at that verb, say that's a second person singular verb, and you've either got to find the subject or supply the subject from the verb in order to make the sentence work. But you can't squish a just any nominative into a verb. It's got to agree in person. Make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, you don't want to Frankenstein it. Good, yeah. And so what you'll do is you'll start realizing as you're translating, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right, or there's something off about that. And a lot of times it's because you're trying to make a subject supplied for the verb that maybe doesn't have a subject supplied. You guys okay? What else do we have? All right, well, you guys are in your workbooks then. You guys are on page 171, correct? That's actually track 2 for exercise 16. So on page 171, let's parse a few of these and see what we come out with. So, Sharon, do you have Mike? Are you with us fully?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, cool. How are you feeling about chapter 16?
So.
Okay. Well, if you have any pressing questions, make sure we answer them.
I will ask.
Okay.
I take it you want me to parse?
Yeah, that'd be awesome, actually. Do you think you could do number 3?
Yeah. Hey guys, sorry for this, but we did some of these in class. So.
Did you really?
Yeah.
You jerks.
But we didn't do 7, 8, and 9.
Okay, well then let's do 7. Do 7 for me.
All right. We're 16. Okay, so ois. I forgot what this was that fast.
You can't forget.
I did.
Come on.
I have to think. Give me a second. We were doing contractions.
Let me ask you, Sharon, what kind of word is this?
A Greek word? No, just play it.
I love it. That was awesome.
Okay, it is a. What am I doing? It's a dative.
Good. So it's a
plural.
Okay, so it's not a verb.
No.
Okay, good job.
And
what's your gender? You gave me dative plural.
oh, masculine. Oh, wait a minute. Ergo.
Do you know the lexical form?
I'm looking it up.
Oh.
Ergo. Okay, I'm struggling here. Okay, I'm gonna say, oh, where is it?
Who is this?
Okay, I'm having some issues here.
Okay.
I need help.
All right. Does somebody want to help? Do you know what the lexical form of number 7 is in the workbook?
Ergon.
Ergon. Good.
Their accents are above the first epsilon. Both of them. Breathing mark in the accent.
Okay.
There's dative plural neuter, right?
Dative plural neuter. You're right. It's a neuter word.
2 works.
You're right. 2 works. Good job. You good with that, Sharon?
Yeah, I'm not understanding why I can't find the word. Am I looking for? I'm still looking for the. Oh my god. Alright, I see it finally.
Did you find it?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, it's on page 402.
I got it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, good. Somebody else want to take number 9? Or, I mean, number 8? The parsing on page 171 of the workbook?
I'll take it if nobody's jumping at it. Number 8.
Yes.
Second person plural.
Okay.
Active indicative. And its lexical form is Lego. And it would be, inflected meaning is you plural are saying.
Yes. You are saying, and that's good because you brought the present, the continuous out. And you could, if you wanted to, just to be obnoxious and southern, in order to let them know that you know that it's plural, second person plural, you could say you all.
Y'all are saying.
Y'all.
No self-respecting Southerner would say you all. Thank you very much.
You guys.
Definitely not.
Okay. All right, number 9.
Third person singular.
Okay.
Present active indicative
Perfect.
from Luo.
Right, Luo.
And oh, I forgot what that means. Third person. He loose or she it loose
Yeah, he, she, it are loosing.
or loosing.
Yeah. Hey, Aaron. All right, we were just doing some parsing and we were talking through the chapter, so, and anything about verbs that people might be struggling with.
Probably already went over it.
A little bit, but
Yeah.
but I want you to ask your questions.
Well, honestly, like I was saying, like I feel like I'm not quite sure where to start. Like
Okay.
I feel like it was like another wave, like it was last class, and I know that like that's the feeling. But
Right.
he was telling us
I don't think Jake, you were in the class at that time, or Priscilla. Like, remember he was saying like we should start learning 2 ways of learning verbs, memorizing all of the principal parts,
Okay.
or memorizing all the rules. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
And I'm not quite sure what to do, if I should start with that or if I should start like just concentrating on the verbs. Like, I'm sorry, just concentrating on each chapter at a time.
I think you're safe to go each chapter at a time.
Okay.
Just be sure not to dismiss anything as unimportant. So eventually there's benefit in both. That's the reason there's 2. Okay? One is if you learn the rules, then you're going to be able to reverse engineer words. You're going to be able, if you learn the rules, then when you see something, you say, this probably happened, and you can probably find what the original verb was, or what the lexical form of the verb is. And so you can move through that way. However, just with each one, learning the rote, this is the lua, lues, lue, luamen, luete, luusi. Just know this is the form of the word. Then, then you can just move through. I think, to be honest, I think you kind of need both, but the personalities are different. Knowing the rules, I knew the rules, but it didn't serve me to function only in the rules because it felt like it was a puzzle that you're putting together every time.
Yeah, I lived with the endings.
Yeah.
Endings should be primary, in my opinion, but that's just my learning style. So, and then you just basically have a deck of cards with endings all over them in your mind that you just pull out when you need them. So I would start with that because that's going to be the thing that builds. And you'll get used to the principal parts as you go. But the thing that changes most definitively are going to be the endings, at least immediately.
It's kind of like a both and.
It's a both and, because for me, I to this day can still say lua, lues, lue, luamen, luete, luusi. I can say mai sai tai, metha essa ntai, main sa ta, metha essa nta. I can do all those, blank sigma blank mente nu for the aorist and others. I can, nu sigma blank mente nu for the imperfect. I can do those, and I know the endings, and I know they're there, and that helps me as I'm looking at words to work through those endings. But knowing, because I was very unconfident, and I chose to detail out every chapter to ridiculous pieces, I also knew the rules. And knowing the rules is you're going to want to know the rules when you get outside of the indicative. When you get to the subjunctive and you get to the others that tend to break all the rules you just learned, or all the things you just learned, being able to reverse engineer is a good skill to have. Okay. So, and we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Okay.
I just don't want you to get there, think that we said it was unimportant, and then you get frustrated.
Yeah. I just feel like right now, I almost feel like I need like a just big giant review from what I just learned this past weekend. I don't know how you feel, Priscilla.
Yeah. Well, I think what you can do with the verbs is there are certain verbs that you want to know the whole A to F. Like the me verb, which doesn't really fit. But you just sort of know the I am, he is, she is, it is, it. Certain verbs that you run across over time, it's easier to first know them all, so you're going through boom, boom, boom. You also know the rules, so when you run across that other verb that's not used that often, then you can say, oh, I know the ending, and then you back it out. And it's less frustrating to be able to translate a bit first, and then figure it out, rather than figure it out.
Sure, right.
If I had to drill you into the 2 things that I think matter the most for this chapter, it's going to be 16.3 and 16.10. Those are the 2 figures that I think probably will get you through verbs, at least the beginning. So what is a verb made up of, and what is this verb doing?
Okay.
And as you continue going throughout these chapters, the big question is, what is this verb made up of? What separates this kind from the other kinds?
Okay. Remember when you learn nouns, and you can just look at the noun and you can go, oh, that's nominative, oh, that's genitive, oh, that's dative. You're going to start doing the same thing with this here. So you right there. So 1610, you'll start to look at the ending and immediately know second person singular. But there's certain ones that you may be more comfortable just knowing it automatically without trying to pull it apart.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah. Is there anyone online?
Yeah, we've got a few people online. Yeah.
Okay. So where were y'all at when I walked in?
We're in the workbook.
Okay.
If you want to turn to 171 in the workbook, I'll ask you a few questions and you can feel how comfortable you are.
Okay.
Okay, and it looked like you did some of this in class, but walk me through it, okay? So on 171, take number 3 in the parsing section. Can you tell me what is the stem, what is the connecting vowel, and what is the ending to that word?
Okay, the stem is pistu,
Okay,
and then the connecting vowel is omicron, and the ending is men.
okay, good. Now what about number 4? Can you tell me what the stem is, what the connecting vowel, and what the ending is?
So the stem is lu, and the connecting vowel is epsilon,
Right.
and the ending is iota sigma.
Good. Perfect. So you already, on one level, it sounds like you've already learned how to engineer the words.
Yeah, it just gets confused when he was like talking about like contractions and like I under like.
We'll get there next week. That's something you don't need to
Okay.
worry about this week. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. You
Just
could
do chapter 16.
just 16
Okay.
today,
Sorry.
and coming out of that fog from the weekend can be confusing. But this is where you get to calm down and just go, okay, I'll
Here's just this.
deal with this. Yeah.
I'm just gonna do
Because all that builds on this chapter.
I think that's the strategy that I was trying to employ. You can tell me if I'm wrong. Is I do my best on the weekend, and I go home, and I forget about most of the weekend. And I worry about Wednesday.
Who's that?
It's Brandon.
I live from Wednesday to Wednesday, and eventually you get it all.
I know.
I just worry about this coming Wednesday.
It's good. You know, I used to record the classes. And what I would do is when I'd sit in class, I would sit there and I would record. I have a little program on my computer that I can take notes and it records the audio from the professor and it links them. And I would create markers. I would say chapter 16, chapter 17, chapter 18, chapter 19 within my notes. And then when I got home, I didn't care. I just let it all drain out of my ears. It would all go away. And then when I was studying each chapter, I would go back and press play on that chapter on the recording and re-listen to everything he said after having read the book, tried to do the parsings, and then all of a sudden what he said made a lot of sense. And it wasn't this confusing fog. And then the next week I would focus on that chapter, read the book, do the workbook, and then go back and listen to what he said in class and say, oh, wait a minute, okay, now that makes sense, where it didn't make sense to me on the front end. And so that was always helpful. So you're right, coming home and kind of decompressing and then saying, okay, now it's Wednesday to Wednesday is good.
Yeah. Okay. So I know you don't want us to like just learn for the quiz, but I do want to know like what he's going to be doing on the quiz. Is that okay?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
The quiz is the normal thing at this point. At least I have not been informed that it's any different. You will have a grammar section.
Is it going to be like tense, voice, and mood is always going to be present, active, indicative?
For this quiz, yes.
Okay.
Next week it may change. But this week, existentially for this test,
Right.
you just present active indicative, you can just write that across everyone that's a verb, present active indicative, because that's all you're dealing with.
And then I just need to know the active voice endings on page 134.
Okay. What's up?
On page 134, that's like I just need to know those endings because we haven't gotten to middle passive voice until chapter 17, correct?
Right. There's no
Okay.
middle passive.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, so then, but as far as memorizing the vocab,
Yes.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to like monopolize this
Okay.
right now. But on the vocab, now he's telling us that we should memorize all these other forms underneath. So that's fine, like, not going to complain. Just, like, yeah, so I need, like, that's not going to be helpful for the quiz, but I need to start memorizing those.
I don't know if I agree because you don't have enough context on why all those are the way they are.
Well, he gave us a worksheet. Do you have a worksheet, Priscilla? Did he show you what he gave us? Okay.
I took it more as gonna want to learn that, and so you might want to start now. But I didn't feel pressure to know it now.
Well, I
took it as a heads up.
He told us that we should basically he told us we should start memorizing it now.
There's going to be a day that you're going to want to know it. It's just I'm just telling you it's not important for these quizzes.
Right. So he gave us and there's a front and the back to that.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just reiterating what was happening in class. So.
Well, I don't know what is going to be on your midterm because he was probably clear. I'm thinking he was probably clear to you guys what to expect. Like if you have to know this stuff on your midterm, I don't know. But I'm telling you as of right now on the quizzes, you don't need to know. And in my head, I can't I think if he just encouraged it and said, "Oh, it'd be good for you to pick it up," I don't think he's wrong. But if you're struggling with the verbal stuff, what Jake talked about, 16.3, 16.10, those are vital. This is secondary.
Okay.
In my mind.
Maybe I was just thinking about it differently. I felt like he emphasized it a lot, and then when I talked to him about it, he was.
I did too.
Did you? Okay, well then that's something that I'll email him.
Thank you.
And maybe get some clarity on, and then if it's something that's really important, and you guys need, I'll send an email out to the whole class, or we'll cover it in next week's tutoring.
You're the man. Appreciate that.
But I know that when we went through, I didn't even know what those other things were until we got into at least the second form.
Sharon, I felt like he spent a good 45 minutes.
He spent a little minute on it, and he did emphasize it. I do agree with Aaron on that.
Okay.
So, if you could, I think we would all appreciate that. I mean, I hate to speak for everybody else, but I think that would kind of be cool. Thank you.
I guess that's where I was overwhelmed by. So anyways, we can stuff like that. I don't mean to
No, it's not a big deal, but you do understand the forms underneath, right? Did he explain it to you?
Yeah, he did. Basically saying just memorize it. You don't really know what it means yet, but just memorize it. And then he went in and started talking about all these other charts, and then so in my mind I'm okay, how do I fit all these charts together in that? And I'm just
okay. Well, I'll be honest with you. This is where the professor and mounts separate. The professor's going to be okay if you learn it Mounts' way or if you learn it his way. But you have to understand Mounts, along with maybe a couple of, I don't know the full development of all this, but what Mounts has tried to do is he's tried to simplify it to where you're not learning 100 and something paradigms. Okay? But I promise you, if the professor has gotten his PhD in Greek and did it a long time ago, possibly even before Mounts, or learned it in a different system, he probably memorized every paradigm that's out there and knows it, like that. So that may be influencing this a little bit. I'm telling you, we made over 100s on all of our exams and tests and everything in this course, doing it Mounts' style, and I didn't even own this until after the class, until I got to exegesis. So it's your call on what form is best for you. You need to understand, don't be overwhelmed. If you were to take this information, per the information that Mounts is putting in the chapters, you will do great at Greek. Don't think Mounts is cheating you. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. I know.
You
want to do what the
You're
professor
an
says
awesome Greek teacher, and my professor is an awesome Greek teacher, and I'm getting too conflicted.
Well, then what I'm going to do is, I believe me, the professor is greater than I am. So if you get conflicting things, you take the professor over me every time. But I don't want to continue giving you conflicting things. So I will set up a time to talk with the professor personally, and maybe he and I can nail out what he's asking you to do on these.
Yeah, I mean, like, I just know that he just gave us, he talked a lot about, like, these are the irregular endings that we should memorize and stuff like that. And then he's talked about, like, this chart right here.
Okay.
And I've, like Sharon was saying, like, I felt like he spent, like, a good minute on it. So, anyways, we can talk about something. I know.
Okay, well, that it does sound like to me, and I feel pretty positive in this, and I'll confirm with him. But it sounds to me as if he's preparing you for future. Yeah. But if we're talking chapter 16, I promise you that's not popping up this Wednesday.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you are going to need to be able to parse, like in the workbook.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to need to be able to parse verbs, and you're going to need to be able to parse all the things you've parsed up to this point. Thus far, because it's going to show up. So those are the things that are important, and you're going to need to know that this is your first introduction. The only thing you have right now is this master's verb chart on page 136. And this chart will be given to you each chapter, and it will grow with each chapter. And so this master verb chart, you have present active, the tense stem is present, the connecting vowel is omicron or epsilon, depending on the connection. Personal endings is the primary active endings, and the first singular paradigm is luo. Luo, lues, lue, luam, and luete, luusi. So
right.
That's that.
Cool.
Yeah, and then the next one you're going to learn. Okay, this is the next thing in a master verb chart. It's the present tense, and the tense stem is present. The connecting vowel, the personal endings are secondary. Active if we're going over deponent, or passive, or whatever. Contract verbs are next. So present, active, indicative still. So
just one thing at a time.
Yep, one thing at a time, and we'll get through it. And I will have a chat with Dr. Briones and get him to adjust me, because that's what's going to need to happen. He's going to need to adjust me to make sure I'm teaching this the way he wants it taught.
Okay,
so,
that's fine.
All right.
So yeah, let's whatever you want to do. Is the inflected meaning is always for this chapter for present active indicative is they say or they are saying, like it's going to be continuous or undefined.
Undefined.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, but and so generally it's going to be in the present. It's going to be now. Yeah.
Okay.
So they say or they are saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Then let's continue on. Any workbook exercises that we need to tackle?
I mean, if I have number 9 still left to do, if you want to do a practice one.
Okay. Well, let's do number 9 then. Number 9 is on page 173 in the workbook. Okay, let's do this systematically. Let's say we're going to let Aaron do this one. So Aaron, what I want you to do is I want you to define where's the range. What are you going to translate first?
Up until, is that a comma?
That looks like it's a semicolon, right?
A semicolon? Oh, yes, that's right.
Yeah.
It's a semicolon.
So you can put a line right there, and we'll deal with that. So let's go ahead and deal with that section. The first thing you want to do is what?
I want to find my verb.
Okay, what do you have?
Apen.
Apen? Okay, can you parse that verb for me?
It's present active indicative.
Good.
And I know it means he, she, or it said, but
Well, finish the parsing. You gave me present active indicative. Can you give me person and
no, because I haven't memorized.
person number? No, and verbs do have numbers. So the nouns need to agree in person number, guys. I'm sorry that but anyway. Okay, can you give me person number?
Person and number. Is it third? First person plural? No?
What would first person plural be? You know what? This isn't fair. Isn't this isn't Ipen imperfect?
Yeah.
Or aorist? It's aorist. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's it. Yes.
It's an aorist verb. Okay.
Sorry.
So it's not fair. But
Okay. I just know it means he, she, it said.
it does, which would be just knowing that in English would tell
be
you.
imperfect, right?
No, it's aorist. But I'm just saying that you can get person and number based on what you said in English. He, she, it said.
So that's why it's gonna be
It's not I.
third person singular.
Right. It's not I and it's not
Right,
you.
so
I would be
it's
first. You would be second.
Yeah, so it'd be
He is third.
right. So third person singular.
Third singular.
Okay.
Right. If it were third plural, what would you say?
If it was third plural, it'd be they.
Good. Okay. So he, she, it said. Okay. You know that it's third person singular.
Mm-hmm.
Now, can you find for me a third person singular subject?
David.
Okay. Great. So he's probably doing the action of the verb, right?
Right.
Okay. So then put this together for me.
David said to. Is that?
Sound it out.
Saul?
Yes.
Saul. Okay.
And David said to Saul.
And David said
To Saul. And then we've got this t here, and this is one of those words that if you missed the accent on this word, it would be a major miss. It would be a full point deduction. Because this accent, if it's not there, it literally changes the meaning of the word. Oh, it's okay. So, te akues ton logon tu aklu. Go ahead.
Okay, so why? Okay.
What's your verb?
My verb is akues.
Good. Give me the parsing for that verb.
Okay, so it's present indicative, and it's going to be third person singular.
Do the paradigm in your head. Do you have the
Luo, lue, lues, lue.
luo, lues, lue?
So second person.
Right. Good.
Singular.
Yeah, you just had it mixed up. I've done that a lot.
Okay. I don't know what it means. I haven't memorized yet. So it means I hear, listen, obey.
So second person singular. Do you see a subject?
There's no
that's
subject, so the subject is in the verb.
Okay, good. Good.
So it's gonna be you. So like you hear or something like that, or you are hearing. Okay. Tone Lagone is genitive, right?
Okay.
So in my mind, that means of words of the crowd is too. Well, sorry. Yeah. So basically, like, if you go word by word, it says why you hear of words of the crowd, and that obviously that doesn't make sense. But am I on the right track?
Yeah. Yeah, it would be, and David said to Saul, why are you hearing or why are you listening to the words of the crowd?
Yeah, because it's a question.
Yeah.
So why?
But that genitive there is a goofy genitive.
Okay.
It's sort of an indirect.
Why are you listening?
Yeah.
To the words of the crowd.
Yeah, to the words of the crowd.
Did people sign off because of me?
Nope.
Okay.
You're good.
Mm-hmm.
I always got irritated with Mounts, how he would throw in these goofy things on some of the workbook exercises just to goof you up. Is because you've learned the rule of this genitive and it's got to be this way, and he's going to throw in
something that doesn't make sense.
these awkward things. So.
Okay.
Okay. Do we have any other thoughts on this? Any other workbook issues, guys?
I don't think so. And again, we don't have Not that I'm just focused on the quiz, but we don't have still no translation on the quizzes.
No translation on the quiz, but I am happy.
That surprises me.
I'm happy to work through some parsing and stuff if you guys are interested in doing a little more parsing, making sure you've got that down.
No,
Very interested.
Okay.
I think I'm good. I'm gonna I actually need to sign off and go prepare supper for my lady.
That's fine, man.
All right.
Enjoy, bud.
Bye,
Y'all
Brandon.
have a good evening.
All right, have a good evening, bud. See you later.
He's like in class, he'll be like, yeah, I just think I'm gonna like, I don't know, he just says the funniest thing. We need that sort of break for the moment. Yeah.
Okay. If I gave you the word Pompeii, how would you parse that? Can you do it?
Yeah. Okay, it's gonna be third person, excuse me. It's third person singular because of the EI.
Right.
And present active indicative and what else?
A lexical form.
Oh, do I have to, well, you drop that and you just put the W, the omega.
Okay. So it'll be
You're here. Okay. PE. Okay. Pi, epsilon, nu, and I can't read your writing.
that's another P.
Okay. And then just the W. Well, you dropped basically you dropped the
Right.
EI and then you just put the omega.
Okay. So it'd be Pempo.
Oh, great.
Pempo.
I was saying like,
Yeah. Pempo would be the word.
okay.
And Pempe would be third singular, present active indicative, and what would be the do you know the inflected meaning? Pempo?
The verbs, yeah, I don't know my vocab.
Do we have it? Do we have Pempo yet?
No.
I think it's send. Is it he, she, is sending?
It's not in this chapter.
Not in this chapter. Okay. I think I'm right about that. I think it's sent or send.
That's what we do.
Okay. Well, as long as you can parse it, you're good. Okay. How about this? Okay. Sharon, are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you parse that? Can you read my writing?
Yeah.
Nice.
It is dative plural feminine. I will tell you. It's dative plural feminine. Yeah. Is that it? Can you hear me?
Yeah, dative, plural, feminine, good. But what's the lexical form?
Oh, out. I'll toss.
Good. And what's the inflected meaning? It's got a help.
Oh.
Dative.
I'll toss.
Yeah.
Shit. She it to them.
Good. Perfect.
Oh.
Perfect. Good job. That's
Can
it.
Can I ask a question? You said the lexical form was altos with a with a sigma at the end.
Yes.
Okay.
What's a what?
Yeah, it's altos. It's one of those. It's one of those goofy ones. Pronouns and adjectives are their lexical form are always the masculine nominative singular.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So omicron sigma, not
Right.
even. Okay, cool. By the way, maybe I missed this, but did we ever get that sheet that he was talking about that would mark all of that would tell us how to do all the accent marks? Like,
No, he sent us an email telling us that he's going to have that out in about a week. He's
okay.
going to post it in about a week.
Is that counting for this quiz?
What? The accent marks? Yes.
No.
Yes. This quiz, it's on like Donkey Kong. If breathing marks or important accent marks are missed, it's 1 point off. If they're minor, just accent marks, and you don't put them on, it's a half a point off. And again, he doesn't care if it's an acute, a grave, or circumflex, or if it's a smiley face. As long as you put something over the correct part of the word that's accented, that's important.
And that goes for both the breathing mark and the accent? Because
No.
The breathing mark you have to have.
Breathing mark you have to know. As far as accents, though, he doesn't care what kind of accent you put on. But no, breathing mark, that's part of the spelling, yeah. So. Yeah, some of these words. Did y'all get blepo this time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's your in your words?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I didn't look at the chapter's vocab. I probably should have.
That's right. Blepo's a good one. It's a funny word.
It is. Okay. What if I held this up? Matt, can you do this one for me? Can you read it?
Sorry, Blapusi.
Okay.
And that would be
Very wobbly.
third plural. Present active indicative
Okay.
from blepo,
Okay.
which would be beta lambda eta p omega.
Beta lambda, what's the third letter? It's not an eta.
Oh, sorry. Epsilon, rather.
Okay.
Epsilon p omega.
Good. And what's the inflected meaning?
I haven't even studied that vocabulary yet. Let me look it up.
Okay. It should be at the end of this current chapter.
So that would be they are seeing.
Say that again.
They are seeing.
Good. Yes. They are seeing. What's up? You had a question?
Yeah, like for the accent marks, what were you saying were a point off and a half point off?
The point off would be ones that are major. Like any breathing mark is a part of the spelling of the word. If you miss a breathing mark, it's major. It's going to be a point off. Okay? Or accent marks that are part of the spelling, like t and t. The t with an accent mark is a totally different word than the t without an accent mark. So those are going to be really important. But if it's just like logos and you get the accent wrong, it's going to be a half a point off. the spot of the accent wrong. He didn't even care about what accent. But if you get the spot of the accent wrong, which, by the way, generally, it's always going to be an acute accent in your vocab. Guess there might be some when you get to verbs that are circumflexes, but for the most part, it's going to be acute.
Yeah, I'm just concerned about past verbs.
Well, if you can say the word and you feel like you pronounce it correctly, you can hear where you hit. Mm-hmm.
But like the smooth breathing marks, right? You can't really tell.
No. Oh, you're talking about the breathing marks?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that's the rule. That you hear that as long as you say it right.
The smooth breathing.
Yeah, smooth breathing mark you don't hear, and if it's a vowel that starts the word and you don't hear a h, like a h sound, then it's a smooth breathing mark. But if it's a hu toss, then you go, hey, that's a rough breathing mark. There's no H in Greek. So that comes from the breathing mark. Difference between haughty, you know that's a rough breathing mark right there.
So every vowel
is
If it starts with a vowel,
it's gonna
starts.
starts.
If it starts with a vowel, it will have a breathing mark, period. Yeah. Yep. That is helpful. I'm sorry, I thought you guys had that.
Pretty much what everyone did know that.
Okay, this one. Este. Do you have that one? Do you know it?
Oh, yeah, I just couldn't think. That's to do.
Okay. Can you parse it?
Okay. Yes. It's second person plural,
Good.
and it's from Amy.
Right.
And what else?
What type is it? What's the tense, the mood, and the voice?
Well, it's the Amy verb. I don't know. Does the Amy verb follow present active indicative?
It does.
Then it's present active indicative.
Okay. Actually, I don't think there's an. I don't think you want to. Yeah. It's present active. Yeah, I don't know that we put indicative there. Yeah. Yeah, present active. But yeah, so este, second person plural. It's a good one. Yep. You guys have that paradigm memorized because you just want to always know that. MEA, Estin, Estman, Este, Ison. Okay. You got that down. You guys are good. You guys have proven that this is not overly difficult. Do you remember, like, if I were to ask you just vocab off the top, like hapu?
Hapu?
Hapu.
Yes, it's under the knee zero.
Right.
Nice.
Every time you take a hot poo.
Oh, man.
I'm telling you, that's how I remembered it.
That's okay, I do it with hip hop.
Yeah.
No,
I'm dead serious. That's how I remembered it. Is hapu, man. Yeah.
Hapu, right here.
Yeah. There you go. I'm sorry. No, that you're talking about beneath below is hupa.
Oh, hoopa.
Yeah. No, hapu. I'm sorry. I just made that up. Hapu is where, and that's actually the way I remembered it. Is where do I take
My hot poo.
a hot poo? So.
Because that's an important question in life.
I took it from Apu from The Simpsons. Where is that guy even from?
Oh, that's good. I didn't know The Simpsons though.
I'm
Yeah.
kind of-
Otherwise, I would have taken that route.
I don't
Okay,
know.
but I was working with the only thing I had, and there are many times in my life where I can feel there's a hot poo, and I go, where am I going to do this?
We weren't friends yet, so I wasn't able to be. That's what.
Sorry, guys that are listening to this. Yeah. So, what if I asked like kara? Kara.
Call?
Kara.
Is that a call?
Nope. It's in this chapter, so you probably don't know. Kara.
Oh, it's in the
Yeah, it's called. Yeah, that's God's call in Hebrew. But this is Greek, so kara. It is in this chapter. It's on 137. I'm looking at it. It's the very last word.
Oh, darn.
Joy.
Joy, delight. And this one, let me tell you, there's a great reason I remember this word. Because my wife's name is Kara.
Aww.
So Kara, she is a joy,
She's
she's
my
a
joy
delight.
too, so
That's
I'm
right.
gonna
That's
do
how you
that.
remember it. Tell you, it works. It works. What if I asked you to give me the definition of dia in the accusative?
On account of.
In
According
the,
to. In the what?
in the accusative.
So according to.
Okay?
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. On account of would be.
No, dia. So genitive is true.
Genitive is through. Good.
And then accusative is according to.
According to. Good. Good. You're right. On account of.
I don't know. I can't remember.
You know that's how you're going to remember it.
I'm writing that down.
And you know that's good. You know, I mean, as sick as it is, you know that's good. Okay.
Pretty much all mine for Hebrew were bad. So
Yeah,
I can't
Hebrew.
pretend.
Hebrew, we were either in a very
all-
bad place in life
They're all
or
negative.
something, but they're all negative. Hebrew just lend itself to just, there was no good way to remember anything unless, there was no way to remember anything unless it was not good. So, how about tote or tate? That's it, tate. Tate.
Then or thereafter.
Right. Then or thereafter, tate. I did. I had this one associated with a toddy. Okay.
A toddy?
Yep. Sure, I got it.
What's a toddy?
Because then and thereafter.
Hot toddy.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't say I've ever had one. I just associated.
No.
Yeah, that's why your face is bright red.
I have no idea
I
what you're
think
talking
she
about.
danced too.
I also
Sure.
did baptisms at the beach yesterday, so that could be the bright
Yeah,
red.
we're a little hot.
Yeah. So okay, let's ask you para and the genitive.
Para.
The genitive is
In the genitive.
beside.
From?
From.
And then the genitive is beside.
Genitive is from.
No, genitive is from. Accusative.
Dative.
Dative is beside, and then accusative is
Alongside of. Good call. You got it. Yep. So para in the genitive is from. Dative is beside or parallel. Is how I remember it. And then accusative is alongside of.
Mhm.
Parallel again. So.
Genitive.
Right. So how about echo?
I remember.
Yep. I remember that one, another family thing. I call my son my little echo because he's echo. He's a mini-me, so he's my echo. So I always say I have an echo.
I don't have an echo. I'm not that narcissistic.
Whoa. Whoa.
Joseph, I'm so sorry.
Wow.
I thought it would be funny, but it turned. You know
How about this next one? I'm pissed too. No.
Aaron got it.
Aaron got an FO? Is that one? All right. Pistuo.
I don't really know what that means. I promise.
Greek brings it out of you. Pistuo.
It depends on the ask.
It depends.
That's a big debate. That's
I
a big debate in
believe
theology
in
right now.
God the Father.
Believe.
There you go. I believe. And you got to make sure with the verbs, hey guys, let me be clear. When you're doing the verbs on your quiz and you're given a verb like pistuo and it's a vocab word, make sure that you fully inflect it.
Mhm.
If it's in the first person, write I believe. Put the subject with it.
We don't inflect though. common quizzes? We just give a list.
Yeah, the last two he hasn't asked for.
Have you had verbs on your last two?
I mean, just a name.
Amy. So what did you write? Am?
We didn't write inflected meaning at all.
What did you write?
There was no column for that.
I understand, but when it was in meaning, what did you write for Eston or Esme? Or say Este? What did you write?
For lexical form?
No, for for vocab. I'm not talking about
Right.
parsing. Vocab. When you got the word Este, what did you write the meaning as?
You are.
Okay, you just inflected the verb.
Right.
Okay, I'm telling you, you did it, and you did it right. This is where the rubber meets the road, though. Is that on verbs? Now it looks like you're probably going to be dealing with all first-person lexical verbs. So not a big deal. Just remember to put I in front of it. Akuo, I hear.
Right, but we want him to do it.
Pistuo, I believe. I do think you want to. You want to put I in front of it.
Yeah, no, but like we don't ever have to write the inflected meaning.
Okay, but what I'm telling you is that you've been doing it. You just didn't realize it.
Okay.
Yeah, with Amy, you put I am. That's inflecting Amy. Otherwise, you would have just put am.
What we're saying is there wasn't a. The first one had what I call
Pull the quiz.
definition. The
I have it.
second one didn't.
Yes.
To show what.
No,
It's not. I don't have Micah's form.
No, the next quiz. Or the last quiz.
No. Yeah, the second and the third one, not the new one.
Right. No. I understand that. I understand that you're saying there's only one column for meaning. Okay. Agreed. But I'm saying when you're given a verb and you're asked for meaning, go ahead and put the inflected meaning.
No, I know what you're saying.
Okay.
Okay, I think we're sort of talking cross purposes. I know what you're saying. The first quiz, you had these columns. Give us the lexical form, give us what it is, the word, the English word. Is that what you're saying? Well, the meaning
Yes.
is
In the English,
in
yes.
the English. In 2 and 3, we didn't have a column for give us the depth.
Okay, I don't understand. What's a vocab quiz then?
I don't know, but that's why we're looking at your
You're
cross.
talking about the parsing
You're talking about the parsing
half,
section.
not the
Oh,
vocab
and the other-
half.
I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about the grammar.
If a verb pops up
Now-
on the vocab half,
You now in your vocab are going to be dealing with verbs, not just nouns.
That I just did without thinking. Okay.
Okay, but when you get to the verb, what I'm saying is
Yeah.
that when you get to the vocab section,
Mhm.
and now there are verbs, when you give its meaning,
Yeah.
give it inflected.
Yeah.
I am,
Oh, no.
or I hear, or I believe, something like that. Don't just write believe or
Don't
hear.
just write speak.
Right,
Say.
speak or say. Yeah.
Okay.
Even though he may not take off for that, but I'm just telling you, go ahead and get in the habit of doing that.
Yeah.
That's what it means. So.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
No, the vocab is just easy. It's just for me anyway, because it's just I'm doing this. I'm
Sure.
not thinking about it's this.
Sure. Yeah. It's not a big deal. And it's not like you're going to have any pop up in the second person or third person. So they're all going to be lexical form words. So just put I in front of it because you know that's what the word means. So echo would be I have, because I have an echo in my house. Pistuo would be I believe. What about prosopon?
Face appearance.
Face or appearance. That's not a verb.
No.
It's a noun. And what kind of noun is it? What gender is it?
Neuter.
Neuter, right. Because it's got that new ending. Good. Prosopon. Good. Okay. Well, guys, I mean, you're sounding good. Do you want to go over more workbook, or do you want to call it, or what do you want to do here? You're okay? What do you think, Aaron?
I'm always down to translations.
Okay. What about you guys, Matthew, Sharon?
It's been great, but I got to head.
All right.
Yeah, I'm
Sharon, what
going
do
to
you
feed my babies.
All right, go feed your babies. Get out of here. All right, guys, we'll sign off. Have a great quiz this week and a great study for your midterm coming up. So we'll work hard on those things. All right?
Yeah.
Be good. Peace out.
Bye.